Hey everybody, come on in. We're going to do a Yankey Rants. This is an older show that I used to do. I did one recently. I do them when I get inspired to do them now. When I have something I want to rant about. My button isn't working, I don't know why. This is the theme music I threw together for the show. I'm going to contact somebody, a friend of mine hooked me up with, Robert Stanley, the host of the Right to Reason podcast, which you should check out. He's going to hook me up with this musician, Nick, makes theme music that I can use for my shows. Hopefully I come up with something really cool with that, because this stuff I've been making on a music maker app, and it's decent. I like this. It's just I would rather have something professional, you know, something that for conspiracy theories and chill lives up to Mr. Crowley, or there we go, or for this is more aggressive, you know, because I can't use copyrighted music for this stuff or they'll mute the video. So I have to make my own or get somebody's permission, like a musician that I'm going to contact, that Robert's hooking me up with, that I'm going to contact to make music for me. So I have cooler stuff to play for you guys. But I thought this one was decent. This is what I made up today. Hold on, let me turn it off. All right, so this is Yankey Rants, as I was saying. I'm Sean. Thanks for stopping by. Go ahead and share and invite your friends. I'm going to rant about a few things that I have written down that have been on my mind. And then afterwards, I will check in with you guys to see what you've been talking about while I babble on. And we'll hang out for about an hour. But let me pull this up on my page and share it real quick. Hopefully you'll do the same while I'm doing it. And I'm not boring you to tears. Hey, everybody. Hey, Helen. I can just now see who's here. So, hey, Helen. What's up? No, I'm going to do a Yankey Rant. So we'll go ahead and start the show. I noticed that there's nobody here. I hope Helen's still here. I'm not showing anyone here, but it's noon, you know. I'll leave this up. Anyways, I'm going to start my rant. We're going to begin with a disgusting topic. I know I'm smiling, but don't misjudge my view based on my expression. I just can't believe I have to even talk about this. We're tear gassing children. I'm sure that you know about this. The media is actually covering it this time because it's Trump as president and not Obama. When it was Standing Rock, the media wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole, but now they're all over it. They're all sharing the same picture of the same two little girls running away with their mother or whoever that was with them. But I don't know why that is, other than the fact that I know that, well, I do know why that is. News is all propaganda, and they share that picture with each other. They all share the stories with each other. They write each other's story. They all play from the same narrative. So it's really easy to understand why that is, that they're all using the same picture of these little kids. But anyways, we're tear gassing children at the border. These people are seeking asylum, which, by the way, doesn't happen to be illegal, Tommy Lauren. You know, she's on Twitter talking about how happy she is to see us shooting tear gas canisters, which is against war. It's a war crime to use in a war zone. You can't use this, but we're shooting this at people seeking asylum in our country from circumstances that we created. And Tommy Lauren, however you say her name, is on Twitter talking about how happy she is to see that happening over Thanksgiving weekend. Again, Standing Rock happened on Thanksgiving weekend as well, or happened around that time. Hey, Steve, welcome to Yankey Rants. I'm ranting right now about how we're tear gassing children who are seeking asylum in our country, which is not illegal. You know, and I was touching a little bit on it, but I'm going to come back to this. We did this last year as well, or when was Standing Rock? Was it last year or the year before last? I'm drawing a blank now. I'm questioning myself. I hate that I question my memory during these, because I don't want to say something inaccurate. And sometimes time is weird. Time is weird in your memory. You don't remember things well. How long ago they were. I don't. Sometimes I'll see that something I think happened just yesterday. You know, it feels like it was just recently, happened 5 years ago. And I'm like, what? How could that have been so long ago? It's so fresh in my memory, but things work out that way. But no, it's crazy. This what we're doing at the border to these immigrants. That's what they are, is immigrants. And we got a statue out front of our country that says that to send us your poor, your weak and huddled masses. I don't know exactly what it says. I'm probably misquoting it, but it's pretty clear about we take in immigrants. We're a country founded on immigration. We're supposed to be a melting pot. These people are seeking asylum. We created the problem, but what are we doing? Are we processing them and handling it the way we should? No, we're shooting tear gas canister at them, at children. And Tommy Lauren thinks that's great. I don't see how you could possibly think that's great. I'm ashamed that my government is shooting tear gas at children right now. And they're doing it on our behalf. And I don't understand how you could pull the trigger. I don't understand how you could. I understand you know, your defense would probably be, we're just following orders, but some orders you just shouldn't follow. I would not shoot at children. I wouldn't, anything. And these things, they can hit you and do a lot of damage. Matter of fact, that happened at Standing Rock. There was a college student there protesting. She got hit in the arm with a canister and almost lost her arm. I think they were able to save it, but she almost lost her arm from one of these things. They hit hard when they hit you. It's just terrible. It's terrible that we're at this point as a country that we're acting like the people that we come down against. Didn't we come down against Saddam for doing basically the same thing to people? Of course, we said he was using some kind of other poisonous gas, but you can't trust. Those people also said he had weapons of mass destruction that they've still never found. Can't trust him. So did he? Or was he just tear gassing his people like we're doing? You know, because Standing Rock was our own citizens. We're tear gassing our own people. This time we're tear gassing immigrants seeking asylum, but before we were tear gassing our own people. The police have been militarized, and it's used against us. That should be a gigantic concern, and that was made possible under President Bill Clinton. You know, that's been going on a long time, but it started under Clinton. You got these regular police forces that roll out like armies. What, you know, with armored Humvees, and you know, they even have noise weapons, frequency weapons, the 5G weapons that the military uses. You know, that we're getting ready to have on our new cell phones because we're ridiculously stupid and don't pay attention. It's dangerous. You know where they've been doing tests? Thousands of birds have just been falling dead out of the sky from these frequencies. These are military-grade frequencies that they use currently in the military to cause harm to people. We're going to use them to have 100 times, well, is it 100 times faster cell phones? I think it's 100 times. At first I was going to say 1,000. That still wouldn't be worth it. These frequencies are harmful. And not only that, you need 30,000 more towers. So the radiation from them is going to be extremely harmful as well. I can't believe we only have one person here. This is bumming me out. Is it because it's lunchtime? It might be because I haven't shared it. Let's share it. Let's share it around. I'll share it and you share it too before I get into my next one, because I want more people here for this next one. So I'm going to share it a little bit. Let's see here. All right. I shared it a little bit. That maybe should get some more people in here. But I'm going to get on to my next topic that I wanted to rant about before we sit around and talk about whatever you want. So feel free to comment if you're here, or even if you join later. Feel free to comment about what you want to talk about, what's on your mind, what's upsetting you right now. But the next thing that's got me worked up, and I wanted to talk about in this rant, is the persecution of Julian Assange. I find it funny that Jim Acosta loses his press pass and everybody goes up in arms, even though I feel like he deserved to lose his press pass, and I don't think he should have gotten it back. You know, and I'm not just talking about him moving that woman's arm out of the way. I don't even care about that. That's a non-issue as far as why he should have lost his press pass. He should have lost his press pass because of his behavior, which led to the girl reaching for the microphone that got her arm moved. He went over his time. He repeatedly goes over his time. He repeatedly interrupts. There's a lot of reasons why he should have lost his press pass. But all of that aside, Jim Acosta is not a real journalist. We have a real journalist, Julian Assange, who is being held prisoner in an embassy in Ecuador and cannot leave because he will be arrested and maybe even killed for sharing the truth. You know, in their entire existence, WikiLeaks has not had to retract anything they published for not being true. All they do is share the truth. They are an outlet for whistleblowers and leakers to share truth, to release and share truth with people. It's one of our last resources for truth. And I can't think of another place that people like Edward Snowden or Chelsea Manning could have gone to release their information where people would actually see it. It's an important media outlet that we need to be defending, and not enough people are defending Julian Assange. Not enough people are up in arms about what's happening to Julian Assange. Matter of fact, he's being put on trial here in the States. We're trying to extradite him. Consider him a criminal because of the Russiagate bullshit, which is entirely bullshit. Russia did not leak those emails to WikiLeaks. I believe, and many people believe, and we have strong reasons for believing so, that Seth Rich, the DNC employee that was murdered, Seth Rich released those emails to WikiLeaks, and that's what he was killed for. And we have great reason to believe that. And Seth Rich is not Russian. Seth Rich is not from Russia. Seth Rich is not a Russian operative. WikiLeaks is also not a Russian company. Julian Assange is not Russian. WikiLeaks is not ran or funded by Russia. It's all ridiculous. They're scapegoating people because they rigged an election. They rigged the primary against Bernie Sanders and ran Hillary against the will of the American people and then lost. And this Russiagate bullshit nonsense is their way of explaining it. It's all propaganda and fake news. But people get all up in arms over Jim Acosta losing his press pass and not a whisper about Julian Assange. I find that to be disgusting. We should be defending Julian Assange. Because what if we lose something like WikiLeaks? You know, if we allow the persecution of Julian Assange to continue and move forward, that will incredibly discourage anyone else from wanting to take his place, wanting to be a voice of truth, if we're going to allow that to be persecuted and stand for it. When freedom of speech should be one of the things that's the most important to us, and the freedom of the press is essential to holding up the fourth wall of our own government, which we've lost. We don't have a free press. We have a bought and paid for press, and we're not defending independent journalism and journalists like Julian Assange. You know, can't allow what's happening to him to continue. It's disgusting that the average person is ignorant to it and actually believes he's a Russian operative, that WikiLeaks is Russian, and that Russia leaked those pedestrians and the DNC emails. Those were leaked by Seth Rich, and he died for that. And it's disgusting to sully his memory by saying it was Russia, just because you can't admit what really happened was the media and the DNC rigged an election and then tried to convince the American people that Hillary was doing better than she was, and got exposed once the election actually took place and people realized Hillary was a terrible candidate and should have never ran and lost her primary, and Bernie Sanders should have ran against Trump. Which brings me to my final point. I'm seeing people, Bernie Sanders was interviewed recently, and he said that if he's the best person to run against Trump, that he'll run against Trump in 2020. He said something like that, not exactly that, but something along those lines, that if he's the best person to run against Trump, that he'll run. And people are up in arms for different reasons. Some over his age, but a lot of people are mad at Bernie and still believe, I'm arguing with some of them, one of them on Facebook right now, still believe that Bernie actually lost the primary, and believe that a socialist, they still consider him a socialist, would not have a chance at beating Trump. They don't believe that Bernie would beat Trump. I believe that it's crystal clear that Bernie would beat Trump hands down. I think Trump is clearly afraid of Bernie. If you've noticed, Trump responds and fights back against almost everyone that attacks him, except Bernie Sanders. I don't think Trump wants any piece of Bernie Sanders in an election. And as far as Bernie being a socialist, Bernie is not a socialist. Bernie is a democratic socialist, and there's a difference. There are degrees of things. Something is not always just a blanket statement. Something is not always just one of one thing. Something can be of two things. People can understand that. People can be taught what democratic socialism is. They can be taught to understand that it still includes capitalism. You know, we're not talking about changing your way of life in any dramatic way. We're talking about using taxes for the benefit of the American people instead of for endless war. It's real easy. We're talking about things like universal health care instead of an $800 billion military budget. We're just talking about using taxes differently than we use them currently. We're using them for the benefit of the people instead of the benefit of the corporations, instead of using them for corporate welfare and endless war. We're going to make the corporations pay their taxes. That's what we want. I want churches to pay taxes. I think churches should have to pay taxes. I think churches are a business and they should pay taxes. Maybe they could be at a low tax rate, 30%. Let's say 30%, but they should be paying taxes. Some people would say they should be in a high tax bracket, and I think mega churches should. Mega churches should, I agree with that. Like tax them 70%, but you know, like your local church, your local little church, 30%. But they should be paying taxes, absolutely. But as far as Bernie being too old to run for president, I think that's nonsense. I would wheel Bernie into the presidency in a wheelchair. As long as he could still speak, I would vote for Bernie Sanders for president. If he could still speak and think and function. But he is still playing basketball and jogging. He is not any less healthy, if not more healthy than Donald Trump. Definitely more healthy than Hillary Clinton. You know, we're talking about making Nancy Pelosi Speaker of the House. What is she, 80? And Bernie's too old to be president? That's ridiculous. That's ageism. That's disgusting. Bernie's just the right age. If Bernie feels healthy enough to run for president, who am I to say that Bernie don't have 4 years worth of work left in him? If he feels like he does, I'm supportive. And I'm not alone. Many people will support Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders will win. Cindy says she's at work. She may pop in and out of the feed. No customers here at the moment. Oh, you work in sales? Right on. Just comment when you can. Comment anything on your mind. It'll give me something else to talk about because I've ran through my list. The things I talked about today, if you're just joining us, were how we're tear gassing children at the border, immigrant children that are seeking asylum. We're tear gassing them. We're shooting tear gas at people, unarmed people, not invading, seeking asylum, which is legal. We're doing that again. We did that before against our own citizens at Standing Rock. And I don't know if you've noticed, you probably have, but the media is covering it this time because the media is part of the establishment and the media lost an election. And they have been anti-Trump ever since. Not that I'm pro-Trump, but the media is anti-Trump and exposes everything they can about Trump because Trump was never supposed to become president. They were trying to brainwash you that you needed to vote for Hillary. They just messed it up, failed. But they're only covering this. They did not touch Standing Rock. Standing Rock happened during the Obama presidency, and the media left that alone. And we were tear gassing our own citizens, shooting water at them in sub-zero conditions for hours. But we are now doing that again. The militarized police are being used again against regular people, which I don't know why it's not painfully obvious that that's the only purpose for militarizing the police in the first place, is to use them against regular people. Why are people surprised when the armored Hummers are rolled out against regular people? What did we think they were for? You know? What'd you think that noise cannon was for? That's for using against you when you try and protest or you try and rise up. That's what that shit is for. Yeah, Cindy says, I'm disgusted about the way the refugees are being treated. And I completely agree. It is disgusting. We need to handle this the way it's supposed to be handled. It's not illegal to seek asylum. So we need to process these people and, you know, either accept their application for asylum or reject it and handle it that way. We don't need to be tear gassing them at the border. It's disgusting. That's not the way that we should act. I think that we should be above that. I think people should be outraged that America is right now tear gassing families and children and innocent people, unarmed people that are not posing a threat. I'm disgusted by it. I think you should be disgusted by it too. I don't see how anybody can be for that. You know, sometimes I think Tomi Lahren is fake. I don't think she really, how can she believe the things that she believes? But then the other side of that coin is she probably really does. I just don't want to believe a person like that exists. That's how simple it is. And it's weird that people think that differently. It's weird that I can see that we can look at the same situation. We can look at little kids being tear gassed. And one of us goes, wow, that's awesome. I love seeing that at Thanksgiving, our government fighting back against people trying to crawl through our border. And I can look at it and be disgusted and just feel like, oh my God, I'm so ashamed of what my government is doing right now to innocent people. How can people see the same situation so differently? I don't understand people that think like her. They don't make any sense to me. It's like she's not a real person. But, I mean, I guess you got to respect all views. I don't, but I guess you're supposed to. I also talked about the persecution of Julian Assange. Nobody's commenting what they're mad about. Comment what you're mad about. Comment anything you want to talk about. We'll get into it. I've already rambled on for about 25 minutes about what I'm mad about. Hold on, baby's asking me what I'm doing. I had to tell her real quick because she'll get mad at me if I don't answer her text. And then she'll text me 3 more times. Like, hello, McFly. McFly, answer me. So I had to tell her I was doing a feed. But comment anything you want to talk about. We'll get into anything you want. I've already rambled on. We can talk about Julian Assange if you want. We can talk about tear gassing children. We can talk about Bernie Sanders running for president. What you think about that? Do you think Bernie's too old to run for president? Do you think Bernie lost the Democratic convention in 2016 and shouldn't run for president? Can't beat Trump? Or do you think Bernie would defeat Trump easily? I'm of the camp that believes that Bernie would defeat Trump easily. I think if the Democrats nominate Bernie Sanders becomes president in 2020. I'm trying to figure out who I was talking about because Cindy is talking about something here and I can't remember what I said. Tommy Lauren. She sells her opinion. She makes a lot of money for being nasty and hateful. Is it just that people want to see like a cute white girl be nasty and hateful and say hateful things that reinforce their hateful beliefs? Is it that simple? Is that what her fame comes from? Is that redneck hateful people want to see a cute little white girl cheer on their ignorant views? Tommy. Steve says, I saw Bernie speak yesterday. He looked good. He looks healthy to me, too. You know what I mean? Franklin Roosevelt was basically paralyzed. Wasn't he paralyzed? He was a great president. He was one of our greatest presidents. I'm not saying everything he did was great. You know, people start bringing up the Pearl Harbor and all that to me. He did things that were wrong, too, but he also accomplished a lot of good things and was president for a very long time, 4 terms. So I think Bernie is more than healthy enough to be president. He picks a good vice president, which he will, of course, like maybe a Tulsi or Anita Turner. You ain't got no worries. Steve says he doesn't think that the Democratic Party will let Bernie be the nominee. That is a problem. I can see that becoming a big problem because the establishment is terrified of Bernie. But I'm starting to wonder, more of us than there are of them. If we actually use our numbers, we can get this. But you're right. If we don't, we won't get this. But Bernie could win if we actually came out in mass and demanded that Bernie be president. Bernie could win. We need to do what we did last time, and we need to do it ×2. We need to really, really, really push and really commit to doing things like showing up in Philly. I know a lot of us wanted to, and a lot of us, including myself, were not able to, but we need to be able to do things like that. Look at what's going on in France right now. We need to be able to do things like that if we want real change. Cindy says, I would vote for Bernie, but I have less faith and trust than I did before he participated in fraud. What fraud did Bernie participate in, Cindy? What fraud do you speak of? I have an idea what you might mean, but are you talking about the 2016 primary? Do you think he participated in that? Or are you just mad that he didn't come out strongly enough against it? What took place? Or were you talking about something completely different? I almost lit this backwards. I shouldn't even be doing this. If you're watching this, this is the stupidest thing. This is the stupidest thing you could ever start doing. I should do a little mini rant on these. I started these when I was 13. I was dating this girl, and she was 16, and I thought she was super cool, and she smoked, and she got me started smoking. And I am now almost 43, and 30 years later, I still smoke these stupid things. And I've tried to quit multiple times. They're very addictive. The longest I've ever made it was 6 months. They're very hard to quit. Don't start doing this. You know, don't even vape. First off, vaping looks ridiculous. And second, it's just as addictive as cigarettes. You know, it's still nicotine. You know, and it's outrageous that this heavily dangerous drug is legal. Not only legal, readily available. I can walk 15 feet to my local corner store right down the street and get any kind of cigarettes I want. You know, you can't buy gas without staring your addiction in the face every time if you're trying to quit. Every time you go to buy gasoline, you got to stare your addiction in the face. But marijuana is illegal. Marijuana, which has thousands of benefits, medicinal and industrial, is illegal. When this drug that kills people by the millions every year is legal. Legal and damn near encouraged. Jeff says Fincastle Smokers Club. I could definitely join a smokers club. I smoke on this. I chain smoke when I do these and when I drive. I don't usually smoke this much. I only smoke a pack a day. If you watch one of these feeds, you would probably think I smoke 3 packs a day. But I only chain smoke during these and when I drive. And I don't know why those two particular instances I chain smoke, but I do. And I think it's because mostly I'm not smoking the cigarette. Mostly I'm talking to you. Bradley, what's up, man? Bradley says 9/11 was masterminded by Israel. Yes, this is not conspiracy theories and chill, but I didn't have anything to talk about, and I got it written down to talk about Israel on the next conspiracy theories and chill anyway. Israel has huge influence over our government. Israel has huge influence over our foreign policy, and you need to ask yourself why that is. And the reason why that is the cabal that runs our world, basically headquarters out of Israel. You know, Netanyahu treats our presidents like they work for him because they do. And 9/11 is not the first time that Israel attacked America. I can't remember offhand right now, but they attacked one of our ships at a, I don't know the details of it, but Israel attacked one of our warships, and we did nothing because it was Israel. But I think 9/11 was carried out by the CIA and the Mossad, financially backed by Israel and interests in the United States as well. But there's tons of evidence for their involvement in 9/11. Steve, I see you later, man. Steve says he's got to get back to work. See, this was a bad time to do one of these, but I got to work late tonight. I work in the evening tonight. So it worked out good for me. Plus, I was mad about that. I'm looking at news today, and I'm seeing us tear gassing children, and I'm just disgusted by it. And I had to do a Yankee Rants, so I wrote down a few other things to talk about, and I figured we'd hang out for a little while. But yeah, Israel is a huge problem, and we need to really look at that. We ignore that. You know, we give Israel, what is it, $38 billion in aid every year? So many billion dollars a month in aid. Israel has universal health care. Israel has free college. Israel has these things that here are pipe dreams and ridiculous, pie in the sky type ideas. Israel has that with the benefit of us. Israel carries out horrific things against the Palestinian people every day with the support and the benefit of our military, because they know not only the fact that they don't have an army to begin with, but they can't really fight back, because we would come to Israel's aid in a second. And everyone knows that. And that's why Israel gets away with what they get away with. We're behind it. We support it financially and with our military. We support horrible things. You know, like, you think we're ignorant to what goes on in Saudi Arabia, but Saudi Arabia is one of our closest allies. We always take the moral high ground, but really we don't deserve it. If you really look at our history, we don't deserve the moral high ground at all. We never act on the moral high ground. We always go dirty. But yeah, he says Israel owns all the media, and he's right. You know, people rant and rave, and they treat them like crazy people when they're Jews own media. I'm not gonna say it like that, but because it's not that. It's Zionism. It's Israeli Zionism, and Zionists own the media. It's Zionists that are doing the horrific things in Israel. It's not Jews. It's Zionists. Don't have anything against Jews. You know, I don't think Israel has the right to kill people to remove them from their land. I think that is ridiculous. But I'm not against the state of Israel existing. I just don't agree with what they're doing. They need to work out a peaceful agreement with the Palestinians and work out a treaty. And we need to intervene in that way, not by supporting the horrific things that they're doing. And every American turning a blind eye to these things. We need to pay attention to what's going on in the world and what we're supporting, what Team America World Police is supporting. Because Israel's going to take us down a bad road. Israel wants, well, the cabal that runs our world, that heads out of Israel, wants World War III. They want destabilization in the Middle East. They want war with Iran. And they're going to take us there. People need to pay attention. You know, it's right there in your face. People ignore it. You know, I don't know why. Well, I do know why. It's because the media misdirects you and makes you think that there's nothing to it, but there is. While I wait for you guys to comment something else to talk about, maybe to rant a little bit about, I'm going to give you ways to support the show. If you enjoy these shows and you want to help out and support them, there's a bunch of ways to do it. The free way is to support my YouTube channel, Me on Things and Stuff, right here. There's a link in the description. You can go to my YouTube channel, check out any video, like and share or comment on it. Anything you do over there will help me show up better in the algorithm and help my channel. And that's what I want to do right now, is grow my YouTube channel. I want to get it to 1,000 subscribers so that I can monetize. Another way you can help me, if you want, and you can, is to become a supporter of the shows on Patreon. I do this show, Yankey Rants, and I also do another show, Conspiracy Theories and Chill. And if you'd like to support the shows that we do here, you can support us on Patreon by becoming a patron. So that's just a couple ways to support the shows. Just to promote my other shows. I mentioned it just a second ago, but check out on my Facebook page, if you like conspiracies, check out Conspiracy Theories and Chill. There's a lot of episodes, and they're all like archived on my YouTube channel, Me on Things and Stuff. Actually, check it out on YouTube. That would help me more. But follow me on Facebook if you like these videos. If this is shared somewhere else and you're seeing this on a different page, not my own, follow me on Facebook for these videos too. I do these live, and unfortunately they're sporadic because I can't really commit to a schedule, because I don't have a committed schedule at work. So I never know when I'm going to be off. I never know when I'm going to be able to do one of these. So I just do them when I have time, and I leave them up, and I put them on YouTube, and I leave them up on Facebook, and people can watch them whenever. So feel free, if you're here late, you come in later on, feel free to still comment anything that's pissing you off, and maybe I'll talk about it on the next Yankey Rants. Cindy says she's back. She had a delivery. Right on. Welcome back, Cindy. We're probably going to wrap up pretty soon. No one's really mentioned anything they want to talk about, and I've ran through my list. But let's see. Hey, real quick, I will ask you guys while you're here, and comment in the comments later on if you're watching this. I made 2 Mandela Effect videos for my YouTube channel recently, and they've actually been really popular. And I've had a lot of requests to do another Mandela Effect video. Is there any interest in seeing more Mandela Effects? Do you guys think those were interesting? And do you have any new Mandela Effects that I haven't gone into yet that you'd like to see me cover in a video? So comment any Mandela Effects that you'd like to see me cover if you'd like to see me do another Mandela Effect video. And I will definitely appreciate your comments and input into that video, because I'm working on this for it right now. So I've had a lot of requests to do a new Mandela, and I've come up with 6 examples so far of Mandelas I could cover in a new video. But I want to get that number up. So if you have some Mandelas that you want to share with me, go ahead and tell me about them. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. This has been Yankey Rants. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and letting me vent. I feel a lot better. Hopefully you do too. Like I said before, feel free to comment and interact later on. I'll still be here looking at the comments and checking in to see what you guys are saying. And I enjoy hearing from you. So let me know about Mandelas. Let me know about things you want to see in future shows. Anything like that. Thanks again for coming, and I'll see you guys next time.